course, in the spirit of Osher and so forth, we're delighted that Tim Coates is here with us. The University of Richmond Bookstore is carrying this book, and today is, I guess, the first official day of their carrying the book, and Tim manages the store is here with us, and if anyone would like a book, Tim is making a special deal today. It's $29.95 that you're offering today. So that's another incentive for those of you who might be interested in getting one today. And I bet Hilda will sign. I bet she was.
I would be delighted if you want me to do that.
I think that was a promise on the email.
It was a suggestion.
So Hilda, are we done?
If anybody has any other questions, I would be delighted to answer them.
Come on up to
Yes, Marshall.
I have one. He obviously has a wonderful eye for the composition of
Yes.
the photograph itself. I was curious, was he interested to any degree in actually the makeup of the sandstone or
Remember, he was a mineralogist. We walked all over the world, and he would pick up rocks and taste them. You know, mineralogists taste them, and then they tell you the composition of the rock. I have rocks from the Alps, from Southeast Asia. There is a funny story about one particular rock, and that will tell you a little bit about Werner. Werner was 5'3". I like a man that I can look straight in the eyes. I'm 5'2", and I wear a 1-inch heel all the time, and that's, you know, we were exactly equal. And he was a very modest, kind of a quiet man at first impression, but watch out, because he was an observer of life, and he would come up with things that would make people kind of recoil. And I told a story in my comments about the faculty very often coming to the dean and say, at the next faculty meeting, is Werner by any chance going on vacation? Can you send him somewhere to do a seminar? Because they had an issue they wanted to bring up and they didn't want him to be there. Because he would sit in the back and ask the one question nobody wanted to answer. You know people like that. So senior moment. The rock. Oh yeah, the tasting of the rocks. We were in the southern part of Israel, and we drive up to the locked gate of King Solomon's mines. Now, you all have seen Deborah Carr, and I don't remember who the male figure was, King Solomon's mines. But now it's no longer a tourist attraction. It's copper mines. And my uncle, who is local and comes out with his nature card and all of that, walks up to the guy at the gate and asks for permission to go in. And the guy says, forget it. Well, Werner just walks up very quietly, pulls out his ID from the university, and says, if you don't mind, I'm Dr. Lowenthal, I'm a mineralogist, and I really would hate to leave Israel without seeing this. The guy let him in, and we stayed in the car. And now, after he got the grand tour inside, which we didn't know anything about, he walks out with 2 huge samples. His son has one, and I have one at home. That was Werner. He knew how to do these things at the right time. But yes, he knew rocks very well, and he could tell you the exact composition, how many magnesiums and how many whatever other things, copper, was binding, double bond, triple bond. And he was basically an organic chemist. That's what medicinal chemistry is. So yes, he knew. But I remember the first time I saw him taste the rock in a cave, I just recoiled. It was just terrible. And he said, well, how else am I going to know what's in it? But that's what mineralogists do. And he had a beautiful collection, which I gave to his son because John had gone with him for 30 years, and I thought he should have it. And I kept about 6 pieces. I have one crystal that is a hexagon. It is about this large and about this long. And you just don't think about crystals in that size until you see the lake, and they are, huge. There's only one other place we saw a mountain with 1/10 of those crystals, and that was near the Balaton in Hungary, the Balaton Lake in Hungary. It seems to, these crystals, these huge drapes of crystals seem to be near volcanic lakes.
Did he photograph places in Virginia?
Oh yes, oh yes, absolutely. Would you like, now I have 500,000 negatives and 35,000 prints. How many days would you like?
Do a book on Virginia.
Well, this took almost 2 years. It's a lot of work, it really is. Now, I need to say something about Wayne Dementi. I have a number of friends who are authors, and one of them actually won National Award for Nonfiction 2 years ago. They have told me nothing but horror stories about working with publishers. And I want you to know I had none of those experiences, and I don't dare tell them about Wayne, because then they'll tell me I'm lying. But it was absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, fun, encouraging experience. And it was so much fun and so good that we're talking about a second edition because they are selling fairly well.